This is the Doctor, President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords.
I am definitely a madman with a box.
Anyone for jelly, baby?
I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castobrus.
Hey, you fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box Podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 95.
95.
For some reason, I knew you were going to do that.
It's because it's a 5.
95.
95. 925.
Oh, yeah, the old 9-5. the old 9-5. 95.
Are you doing your merry men laughing already? Slap thy thigh.
So, welcome aboard, Who fans. I hope you've had a cracking Doctor Who week and you managed to do something in your week, in your life, that is Doctor Who related. This is your TARDIS team, Adam and Gary.
Yeah, Gary's rocking a very funky Doctor Who t-shirt this morning.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
For the benefit of you listeners, it's like a grey tee with a TARDIS print on the front. It's very cool. I like it.
Grungy kind of look. It's cool.
Yeah, it is a bit grungy, yeah.
And it's a good redeemer as well, because last week you asked me if I got anything Doctor Who related for my birthday. And I was like, no, I didn't get anything this week, but then this is a belated Prezi from my sister, so turns out I did get a Doctor Who item.
After all.
For the birthday, after all.
Yeah, it's good. I need to get some new Who tees. I think most of the ones I've got are really faded, like Capaldi ones. When he first came out, I bought a couple of Capaldi tees, and they're really good. They're like the Rebel Time Lord ones. And
oh, yeah.
But they are so faded now. Like, I always put them on because they're like my favourite tees, and I don't really notice it. And then the other day I was looking at them thinking, wow, that is Peter Capaldi on there, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's really, really faded now.
Yeah, I've got a load of Who tees that are quite faded now, but I don't want to throw them away. I don't know why, just a bit of an attachment to them because I've worn them to various events and stuff like that. I just don't really want to. I don't want to part with them yet.
No, I don't part with them. Keep them,
even if they are faded.
Yeah,
don't care.
No, always keep them.
I don't care.
I've still got t-shirts that will never ever fit me again, but I will never throw them away.
Never.
They're way too small, but I'm never going to get rid of them.
That's good.
That's good.
Been up to anything, Birdie?
Who-wise, not a great deal this week. I did pick up another TARDIS keyring the other day. I mean, I just can't get enough. No, I think after the disappointment of the TARDIS Funko Pop keyring, I spotted this like sort of plasticky, vinyl-y one in HMV, and it's it's just a bit different. It was $2.99. I just like the look of it, so I thought, no, I'm going to get it. It's one of those things, I think, when you just buy something because you have to buy something Doctor Who. Do you know what I mean? I was just out thinking, I just need to get something, and it was cheap. I actually really quite like it. I love those little vinyl keyrings, so I bought that. Apart from that, not too much else. I did start watching. In fact, I've just finished watching. The Who Addicts Reviews Kapow vlog that they've just put up, which looks like a really great little convention. I really enjoyed watching their vid of that. So. That was cool. They met Katie Manning and Colin Baker.
Oh yeah,
it's literally just gone up this morning. But I recommend watching that because that was good. But it just made me, every time I watch a convention like that, I'm just like, I want to be there. Do you know what I mean? I'm just thinking, when's my next convention? And it seemed really laid back. Like they were chatting to Katie Manning for ages, and she was really, really nice. And they were allowed to get photos at the table and film it all, and it just seemed so relaxed and all that. I just thought,
it did look good. Yeah,
I do want to go to something like that. But I haven't got any conventions lined up. I'm still hovering over the London Film and Comic Con. But I was saying to Matt from Who Addicts, it's just when I start adding it up, like 20 quid to get in, 25 for an autograph, 25 for a photo shoot, there's 70 odd quid gone just to get in and meet one celebrity. I'm just like, I don't know. Every time I go to book it, I'm just like, oh, not yet. I'll just keep putting it off. But I haven't got any other conventions on the horizon as yet.
No, I mean, that was going to be one of my things when stuff I've been up to. That's one of the things I've been hovering, just exactly the same as you, really. Because I think we mentioned it last episode or the episode before about buying a ticket for it.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
We said,
yeah.
we'll end up buying a ticket anyway and stuff, but I still haven't. I'm still going on there and hovering over and like,
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I think just the same as you and everyone else, it's one of those things where if you kind of get your mind over that initial payment, like 20 quid, right, fine, I'll just do that. But then, like you, it's like, but then you need to jump on a train and get into London or whatever, or pay for parking if you're driving to do that bit. And then you've got payment for photos or autographs, whatever. And then there's stalls, and then you have to get lunch. And so it does work out to be a fairly expensive day if you make the most of it.
Oh, definitely. I worked out I'd easily go. I'd go way over 100, 150, perhaps more easily if I go. And I know I probably will go. But I could probably go on holiday for that.
Yeah, that's like a long weekend away somewhere. It's pretty good.
is.
But I know there are people that do it on a very, very minimal budget. They buy their ticket and they go and just hang out. That's it. They don't do anything like that. So that's quite cool. But I can't really. I mean, I suppose I could do that, but I want to go to actually meet somebody and get an autograph and a photo. And
well, I'll tell you who's there, who's great, who is also reasonable, and I don't think you've met him, is Fraser Hines. Have you met Fraser?
No.
He's such a nice bloke. He's like £10 for an auto, £10 for a photo, which is very, very reasonable. I mean, that's more like it. And I've met Fraser a couple of times. He is such a genuinely nice chap.
Yeah.
I'll be popping over just to say hello to him that day because, he's really nice. And you haven't met him, so that'd be good.
Yeah. So it's just that. Yeah. It's just biting the bullet, booking the ticket, and then doing it. Well, I think we're just being a couple of wimps about it at the moment.
Yeah,
I think we
it's
just
getting
need to
near.
do it.
Where are we? It's this end of July, isn't it? So
like 5-6 weeks away.
Yeah,
we just need to man up, buy the ticket, and just get on with it
and do it. Yeah,
either that or just stop moaning about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Because listeners are probably like, "Come on, you guys! If just either book the ticket or shut up."
I'll probably buy the ticket and then just keep moaning about, oh no, I spent a fortune. Oh dear.
Well, you have been watching a lot of One Foot in the Grave recently, so he might have rubbed off on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was bad enough before I started watching it. Yeah.
So I've been doing the same thing, buddy. Hovering over that button. I've re-listened to the 10th Doctor Adventures again.
Oh, you have?
I have. Yeah, really, really like it. Really, really, just a great, a really well written few stories there, and the more I listen to David Tennant and Catherine Tate on audio, it's just such a great extension of their stuff that they did on the actual show. It's and like we said many times, it's like they haven't been away. They've just gone straight back into it, and it's just great. So listen to that another time. Not much else really. I haven't
sneaked into the Who Shop this week. Wow.
No, not this week.
We were trying to work out. I was saying to my partner, I was like, how does Gary get to go to that Who Shop so much? Because we were saying, he doesn't live that close. It's like, because I was saying I really want to go there after we've been chatting about it so much. And I was just thinking, you're not that close. You sort of, I think you must find excuses to get out to that part of London.
Well, my wife is from that part of London.
Oh, is she?
She's from Bethnal Green, so she likes to go over there now and then and just have a walk about and have a look about and a walk about, and she just enjoys being in that part of town. And there's obviously she likes going to Westfield, Westfield East, that shopping centre. So she likes going there. So whenever we go to that, and I think it was just coincidence, we just had a few weeks where we had a couple of quiet Saturdays or Sundays. We're like, just jump in the car and go over there, Westfield, and then we're quite close to it. So it'd be rude not to swing by and have a look. So that was it. I probably won't go now for a few weeks or a couple of months, but
no, that'll be it now for it. That's it. You got your fix.
Yeah,
you got your selfie. You're done.
I'm in Liverpool this weekend.
Oh yeah, what's that for?
Nothing who related to the missus is doing this Mersey 10k race thing.
Oh, all right.
Because she's quite the runner. So I might see if I can find if there's any geek shops up there. If they're a Forbidden Planet in Liverpool.
Oh, I don't know actually. There might be an FP International. Yeah.
I will check it out and.
There must be something up there.
Yeah, pay them a visit and cause some trouble.
Yeah, it's good actually when you go to a new place, and it's great if you do find some little geeky shop there. Like where was it where you found that bookshop with all the old classic Doctor Who books in, and it was like a vault, wasn't it? You were just walking through, and the guy knew exactly where they were. Where was that? That was just a very unusual little find, wasn't it?
Where was that? That was in. Oh, blimey! You put me on the spot now. That was somewhere cool. Yeah, and it was. The bookshop was just the name of. It was a lady's name, I'm sure. It was. Oh, blimey! You've put me on the spot now, mate. I literally can't remember, but that bookshop was awesome. And that guy was a legend as well. When I said to him, "Have you got any old classic Target Doctor Who books?" He was like, "Yeah. What Doctor is it you're interested in?"
His little face lit up.
Yeah, and bearing in mind, there was thousands of books in this place. It was like floor to ceiling. In not really any sort of discernible order. It was just groupings of, genres of books. But he knew exactly what shelf, in what part of the shop, what Doctor. It was like the first Doctor's on that part of it. But if you want like some third Doctor stuff, you're gonna have to go down a couple of shelves. And yeah, he was cool. Yeah.
I remember seeing your photos of that place, thinking, right, I must try and find that. And then wherever it was, I remember thinking, it's a bit out of it, but a great little find. Yeah.
Do you know what? I can't remember the town or the name of the shop now, but when we stop recording, I'll remember it instantly.
Of course.
But it was cool. Yeah. Apparently there is a Forbidden Planet in Liverpool.
There is. Yeah, I had a feeling there was. Is it a Forbidden Planet International or
no? Just a normal.
No, the other guys. Oh.
Yeah. So we'll go in there and wreak some havoc.
Yeah.
For a little while, mess with those guys a little bit. But yes, that's been our adventures in Doctor Who over the last week, I suppose.
Yeah, I was going to say it's only a week, and I've got such a. I'm really hoping I get a little bit of time stuff in. I really want to watch some Second Doctor. I don't know what I think perhaps because I've been watching a bit of YouTube lately, and Liv from Who Addicts was on about it, the Second Doctor and stuff. I was just thinking, I haven't watched the Second Doctor story for a while, apart from for the review.
Oh yeah.
I've really got this inkling that I need to watch the War Games. So I'm hoping, which is a 10-part, so go straight in there. I'm hoping I'll get a little bit of time this afternoon because I feel the need for a bit of Troughton today.
Yeah, you're just in the mood for it, are you? Just a bit.
I'm just in the mood.
Yeah.
I don't know why. When sometimes you look at your Doctor Who shelf and you're like, which Doctor shall I go for? Blah blah. Today, for whatever reason, I just know I feel I'm in the mood for a bit of Troughton, so I'm hoping to get a bit of that on later.
Oh, cool, nice one.
Yeah.
Right, shall we land our fair TARDIS?
Yes. Yeah. Let's get into it and do the news.
Do the news. Right. First up.
Sound like you mean business there.
Right. Series 10 begins filming next week.
Yes.
Which is going to be awesome because I'm really looking forward to. We haven't had any official stuff from the Beeb or BBC Wales about Doctor Who in what seems like forever now.
It does.
So
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully they're going to put some set pics on and stuff like that. But I think they've tried their best. The Beeb. I don't know if you follow their official Instagram or YouTube channel.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've tried to kind of just dig out some old episodes and characters and try and make it interesting, but it's not the same. So that's good news. Series 10 starts filming next week, and as part of that, we've had some news that a character is coming back.
Yeah,
to join the cast. So our bubbly friend, Mr. Matt Lucas, will be joining us for Series 10. Obviously, we know him as Nardole.
Well, I do now. Yep. I didn't even know his name. Yeah, Nardole. Yeah,
Nardole. And he was in. Was it The Husbands of River Song?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So, let's talk about because
I just got your tweet in my head. I just can't get it out. That dearie me.
So let's put that to bed. Series 10 starts next week. Excellent. Right, Matt Lucas. I don't know about you, mate, but this has got Moffat written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah, could have put it better myself because I haven't really got anything against Matt Lucas personally. In fact, I quite like some of his stuff, but yeah, when I heard this, I'll be 100% honest with you. First I heard of this, I was in a group chat and they posted a picture of that and also the other bit of news about Frank Cottrell Boyce. I honestly thought they were just having jokes. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. They're like, we're serious. Both bits of those news are true, and I refused to believe it. I just thought they were messing around until I went to the official Doctor Who Twitter feed, and it was all over it. And I was like, this is just a double whammy of what's going on.
Yes,
I mean, as I say, nothing against Matt Lucas, but I don't know if it didn't do a lot to get me excited for Series 10. If I'm absolutely honest, yeah.
I feel the same, and I think a lot of people feel the same. And I really don't think this is doing Stephen Moffat any favours, because, I mean, I probably speak for a large portion of people here when I say that, bring on the chibbers.
Yeah.
It really is time. It feels like, because it feels like this is just like a clutching at straws thing with Moffat doing another series. It feels like he should have hung up his boots by now, and
I think even he feels that. I think he's sort of probably got talked into doing another series.
Yeah, and I've got no problem at all with bringing back characters that have been in the show and so on. But we've one of the things that followed this immediately, because we had the message from Matt Lucas to say he chuffed to bits that Nardo was returning to the TARDIS for some more adventures, and that he loved acting with Capaldi, and he's excited to work with Pearl, so that's all good. And then Moffat came in and said, and he's not in it just for Christmas, he's sticking around, so he's going to be a recurring character throughout.
Yeah, like a semi-regular
Series 10, it sounds like. And I'm just not sure. I like you. I've got nothing against Matt Lucas. He's a extremely funny guy. And if you've seen him in anything not comedic, he's a very good actor as well. So he's very, very good. But I'm just not sold on the character coming back.
Well, he was just ahead by the end of Husbands of River Song, wasn't he?
Well, there you go.
So we're going to have another, what's the blue guy? Who's the blue head that's in the box? We're going to have another one of him.
Oh, him, yeah, it could be. Well, we saw him, didn't we, in the huge, ridiculous robot thing.
Yeah.
Didn't we? So is he coming back with that? Is it going to be
God,
that?
I hope not.
Or
if they want to bring back a head, I'd rather they brought back handles. I actually could have quite attached handles, but I didn't find. That's the thing. I didn't feel any attachment towards this character, so that's why I'm not very excited about him coming back. And somebody did slightly tell me off on Twitter for being negative and moaning about the show and all that. And I am sorry to be like that, but I also have to be honest, Yep. Because the thing that gets me about this is it's not so much a returning character, but we said last week or the week before, we really hope the Moff takes this opportunity to freshen things up and bring us some new blood and that. So this kind of just went back a step and was just like so like you just said, so Moffat and so stale in terms of news and characters. It's like, oh dear. Especially, I'll be honest with you, I'm not that bothered that Matt Lucas is coming back. Just was like, okay, fine. But the news that they're bringing Frank Cottrell Boyce back to write the second episode after he wrote the atrocious In the Forest of Night, that's the bit of news that really just made me go, what the hell is going on in Moffat's brain? To be honest with you, I was just like, that episode was atrocious.
Yeah.
So to bring him back for episode 2, I'm just like, and also we've got Gatiss on board potentially doing a sequel to Sleep No More. I'm just like, oh my God, this series is just shaping up to be a nightmare, but it might not be. I mean, as I said, I'm not, before people have a go at me, I'm not jumping on the series back before it airs. I will wait and see, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. Things are just looking a bit skew-iff to me at the minute. No,
I think if any of our listeners who have listened to us for a decent amount of time now will know that we're not just going to sit here and and pretend everything's cool when it's not. And it isn't cool. This is not cool because the all the reviews and the feedback from the audience and stuff like that, they, like I said last week, they know which episodes are strong, which ones are popular, which ones are not really sitting pretty with fans for various reasons. So the fact that they've brought back, writers to, who wrote some of the two worst episodes from Capaldi's era, just doesn't bode well. It just doesn't feel like.
It almost feels like he's sticking up two fingers to us, as if to say, I'll do what I want. But the thing is that there are characters that our fans are screaming out to bring back. I mean, if that had been an announcement on Monday that Captain Jack was coming back, I think there'd have been a very different reaction.
Of course,
obviously not everyone loves Captain Jack, but it is a character a lot of us, including myself, would love to see come back.
Absolutely.
You know, but I don't think anyone expected Nardole to be that announcement.
I mean, I've got a certain level of respect for Stephen Moffat for basically just doing what he wants to do, and not just paying, not just doing what the fans want, because sometimes you can fall into a bit of a dangerous pit with that stuff. If you're just always,
fan service
basically, that can lead to, just storylines a bit fluffy and too fan servicey, as you say. So I've got respect for him for basically just sticking to his guns and doing what he wants to do. And, we're not being like overly, too negative about it. We're not saying this is like the worst thing to happen to Doctor Who, but it just feels like this latest series is not going in a direction that a lot of fans would, necessarily would hoped for. So you never know. It could be a stroke of genius. It could end up being like a cracking series and all that stuff. So we'll wait and see. But right now, it just feels a bit. Yeah.
I was going to say, a lot of people have mentioned Catherine Tate, haven't they? They said, well, hang on, everybody was in uproar when Catherine was announced, and yet she went on to be brilliant. And I will agree with that. I mean, I was one of those people that when she was announced as full-time companion was like, what? And yet she's probably my favourite New Who companion. I thought she was fantastic. So, I will hold judgment. There is one thing I am confused about, though, is they're starting filming and the Moff's writing episode 1. But aren't they starting filming the Christmas special? Is episode 1 the Christmas special? Does that mean Frank Cottrell Boyce is writing the series opener? Or I just don't quite get, because presumably they're filming the Christmas special first. So I'm not quite 100% sure what's going on there in terms of who's writing what and what they're filming.
I don't think they are. I don't think they're filming the Christmas special until later in the year.
See, I've heard they've already filmed it, but I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
No, I'm just a little bit confused. Yeah,
but anyway, I think Moffat's writing both. I think he's writing the Christmas special and episode 1.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll wait and see. Moving on to other news then. Everybody's favourite mathematical space genius is returning next year. I am, of course, talking about Adric. Not to the series, though. He's returning to Big Finish for 3 new audios. With what I consider to be a great TARDIS team. I know some people don't agree with this, but I love this team. So we've got obviously Peter Davison as the Doctor, Nyssa and Tegan, so Sarah Sutton and Janet Fielding. So we've got the 4 of them back together, the classic TARDIS team, for 3 new Big Finish adventures coming in 2017. I think fairly early on. I think they're scheduled for around about February time, I think, something like that. But I mean, I don't know about it. I know you find Adric a bit of fun. I know you don't hate him like some people.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Are you really?
I am, yeah, because as much as I dislike some of Adric's shenanigans.
Well, he can sort out a robot out, with one kick.
With one kick, yeah. He's not too good against the ladies. Remember when he tried to upset, is it Tegan? And he ended up just tripping over and knocking himself out.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Looking
that's
ridiculous.
Port to Doomsday, yeah.
Port to Doomsday, that's right.
Yeah.
But no, Adric, I think he gets a bad rap because of his annoyance as like this annoying little child that's just, constantly a bit of a know-all. And he's just one of those little boffin kids that you just want to slap because he's got this little way about him where he's just kind of cocky with it. And, but having said that, he is a good character, and I'm really looking forward to what they do with Big Finish. And the reason why is because I've got so much faith with Big Finish. If they're going to bring somebody back, they normally sort of nail it, and it ends up being really good. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. And I think it's the end of Jan.
Oh, is it end of Jan? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be good. What about you? You looking forward to this one, or are you a bit?
No, I am. I actually really like Adric. I'd sort of love to hate him. I have a real love-hate relationship with him. I don't know. I always find it really amusing when he's on screen, and yeah, I like the character. So I am happy about this. Also, I've got the 5th Doctor box set that they did. Oh, I was going to say last year. It might be older than that. But yeah, the 5th Doctor box set that Big Finish did with this same TARDIS team a little while back. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was great. And obviously Adric's quite sort of central to that box set. So yeah, I am looking forward to these. We're getting 3, as I said. So the first one, the trilogy, it begins with Starmen, The Starmen, written by Andrew Smith. Followed up with the Contingency Club by Phil Mulrine, would you say?
Mulrine, yep.
Yeah. And then the trilogy concludes with Zoldy's by Matthew J. Elliott. So yeah, three new stories coming your way, featuring the classic 5th Doctor TARDIS team. I, for one, am looking forward to them.
Yes, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Last up in the news, Doctor Who is being nominated for an Emmy Award for the first time ever.
Yes, first time in 53 years of history of Doctor Who. That's quite something, actually.
That's cracking news.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, well, the show itself isn't up for nomination, but Peter Capaldi is for his role as the Doctor.
Right,
in the category of Best Drama Actor from the episode Heaven Sent, which is great because that was a very, very good episode.
It was very good,
and it shows Capaldi at some of his best as the Doctor and his best acting. So I would say this has got a relatively good shot. I'm not sure what else it's up against. Let's have a look. Hugh Bonville, who's already been nominated for this before, from Downton.
Downton.
Timothy Dalton. Tom Ellis, Michael Sheen.
David Duchovny.
Yeah, Damian Lewis. So that's quite
this is quite a good list.
Michael Sheen and Tom Ellis will probably do fairly well. I'm not sure about David Duchovny. I'm not sure what that would be for. It's not the recent X-Files, is it?
Well, no offence to David, but
Possibly.
I can't think of what else he's done lately. But yeah.
Yeah. So he's up against 2 or 3 other very good actors there. But however, his performance in Heaven Sent, I think, is very worthy of his nomination.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a good episode, that, and obviously he had to carry it on his own and did a very good job of it. So yeah. I mean, he's in good company there, some great names, but it'd be lovely to see him win that. Yeah,
yeah, and that's on in mid-July, the 14th of July. The nominations and all the voting and stuff closes in July, but the actual awards thing itself is not until September.
Oh, okay.
We've got a little wait, but that'd be interesting to see how well he does in that. And that will hopefully now open the door for, future Doctor Who performances or whatever to be put into for an Emmy or a nomination, because I'm surprised it hasn't been in before, to be honest with you. But there we go.
Yeah, good luck, Peter Capaldi.
Good luck. Good luck, Peter Capaldi, because we know you listen.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Sure. No merch this week.
No, there's not much going on in merch, is there?
Very light in the way of merch. Which is depressing a little bit because, put a few quid aside to pick something up. But
that's why I end up buying key rings.
I'll tell you what's a good idea.
There's nothing else out there for me to buy.
Key rings, yeah. I'll tell you what's a good idea. The money that we were going to spend on TAT over the next couple of weeks, let's put that aside, and that goes towards London Comic Con next month.
Yeah, that's a cracking idea, actually. Have dig out a TARDIS tin.
Yeah, and then we won't have to moan so much about, digging money out to go. So let's book the ticket and then put some money aside, and then everyone can stop moaning.
That's a very good idea. I like that plan.
Well, I say everyone. You and I can stop moaning.
You stop moaning, yeah.
Having a good old whinge. Anyways. Ha-ha, Adam! You king of knaves.
Ding, 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 ding. I should have brought my loot to wherever it is.
Yeah. What are we going to do this week?
Well, let's set the TARDIS coordinates for 1190, shall we? And go back and visit the the Robot of Sherwood.
No damsels in distress, no pretty castles, no such thing as Robin Hood.
How can you be so sure he is not the real thing?
Because he can't be.
What do you say, outlaw? A final reckoning?
Interesting one this week. Now, there's a reason why we didn't do this when the series was going, wasn't it? Why didn't we do this?
I don't know. I thought you was about to tell me because I was going to say, well, I don't think I was a regular at this point. I think I sort of jumped on mid-series 9 and there are a couple of weeks where a few of them got missed out before I jumped in, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I joined like on Flatline or something like that. I can't quite remember.
Oh, of course. That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So this one sort of got missed out along with a couple of others, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yes. Now, you and I have spoken about this one a few times, haven't we? When we've referenced other episodes, and we've normally said, well, it can't be as bad as Robot of Sherwood, and it can't, so I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are on this one, because I've only seen it once, and that was when it was actually went out mid-series.
Okay.
And I watched it again. I literally watched it this morning over breakfast.
Yeah.
So it's fresh in my mind. This was back in September 2014.
Wow.
Written by Mark Gatiss and directed by Paul Murphy. And what are your... for the benefit of the listeners, I can just see Adam's face over Skype, and he's very expressionless at the moment. I'm not getting much from him. So overall, dude, what are you feeling?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's because I was waiting for you to give the little synopsis. That's why I was waiting for you to say, so this is about blah, blah. Well, I don't mind it, actually. It's not... I think... I don't love it, but I don't think... I sometimes think I get this confused in my head with In the Forest of the Night, funny enough, which is ridiculous, because I think it's just because they're both in a forest.
They're both forests, yeah.
Because, I sort of often think of this as being really bad, but actually it's not. I don't think it's that bad at all. I don't think it's great, but I do like some of the humour in it. Before we sort of get into it heavy, I'll just say that I think it's a easy watch, but pretty unsubstantial.
Right.
Yeah, that's my feelings, but I don't mind it.
Okay. I thought you were going to go a bit dark side there. For some reason, I had this thought in my head that you were going to destroy it immediately.
No, that would be In the Forest of the Night. I detest that. But no, this one, it's all right. Yeah. What about you?
I've got to kind of echo what you're saying, really. I think it's one of those, I wouldn't say it's a Marmite episode where you either love it or hate it. I think there's things in there that are enjoyable, and the concept is really good. It's when they announced it, I remember when they announced the storyline for it, it's like a few months before they filmed, or a few months before the episode went out, that they were going to do a Robin Hood story. I was like, wow, that's bound to be good. Such an iconic character. They can't screw that up. It's bound to be good. But like you, I just found it a little bit like, that was pretty good. It was all right, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. It's just sort of plods along at a reasonable pace and doesn't really do much. There isn't really any one big event to draw you into. There's no build up, really. There's no one thing that, climax, great story. But yeah, it just plods along and finishes as quickly as it started, really.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's got a really cheesy ending.
Oh, it's a terrible ending.
It just sort of wraps up. Like I said, it's just wrapped up. Everyone's jolly. And matey shoots that arrow to the sky. Da-da! Oh, my God. But yeah, I don't know. I found it an easy enough watch, but I did find it lag in the middle. Yeah. Like, I was thinking it got to sort of halfway through. Because I think this starts off really well, actually. I love the sort of first... probably 10 minutes of this. I really enjoy the beginning. So, you got the spoon fight with the Doctor and Robin. I think is great. It's a really nice little little way to start the episode. I love all the stuff going on with the Doctor where he doesn't believe the merry men are real, and the dialogue going on there where he's ripping out the hair and he says, oh, good job you're fake because otherwise you've got so many diseases you'll be dead. And he's like, but I am real. He's like, goodbye. I love all that. I think the first 10 minutes of this is really nicely written, really good fun. And yeah, then I don't know, it just seems to, as soon as they get sort of locked up in the cell and everything, it just sort of really seems to plod after that. And then we get to the ending, which is one big cheese fest. And the bit with the arrow is just ludicrous. It kind of really takes the edge off. So yeah, I just think it falls a bit flat, this one. But I think it starts off pretty decent.
Yeah. And just to give everyone a recap very briefly on the story then, it starts basically with the Doctor asking Clara, what does she want to do? And she essentially says, I want to go and see Robin Hood. Yeah. So the Doctor tries to convince her that he's not real. He's just folklore, legend. They land in Sherwood Forest and immediately bump into Robin Hood, surprisingly. And then from that point on, it's because the Doctor has always thought that Robin Hood is a fictional character from books and so on. He's then on this endless quest, it seems like, to prove that he's not a real guy and something's not right and all the rest of it. And then we find out that it's an alien spacecraft has crashed down, disguised itself as a huge castle. I was going to say the Sheriff of Rottingham then, but that's from that spoofy Robin Hood film, Men in Tights. The Sheriff of Nottingham is in control of these robots, and he's taking all the gold from the villagers because for some reason this spaceship requires gold in order to repair the whatever system's broken within its engines. Is that right? It requires gold, doesn't it?
Yeah, sort of. They got these big circuit chips that they make, circuit boards they're making, aren't they?
Yeah, so it has to be gold. So the villagers are getting robbed by the sheriff because these robots have basically said, help us mend the ship, and then you can take control of it, you can take over the world, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And while this is all going on, Robin Hood and his merry men are trying to stop it, along with the Doctor and Clara, and they eventually do in the worst way possible. And then that's it. So it's quite a good, on paper, it's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
I can imagine the concept is really cool because they could have gone with a very typical classic Robin Hood story where the Doctor, looks up to him as this great character and his merry men and, it's all that. So I really like the twist that, the Doctor hates Robin Hood immediately. And there's this very fun, there's this very fun bantering, as the Doctor puts it, between him and Robin Hood, and they're constantly arguing, and he just doesn't like him at all. So that's a nice twist because normally, if you look at any other story or film or whatever to do with Robin Hood, he's always like this he's almost like the knight in shining armor and saves the day, and everyone looks up to him. So really like that they didn't do that they went with a slightly different direction, but the middle and the end of the story just don't live up to the opening part of it. Because I love the scene in the TARDIS where the Doctor's drawing on his blackboard.
Yeah.
And he's working stuff out. And the little conversation with Clara, that's all good because I really like that about Doctor Who and we see it a lot in the classic era where it's just, it's not some huge story arc that we have to worry about. It's just a nice little introduction is with the Doctor and the companion in the TARDIS. It's like, right, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And that's how the adventure starts, which I really like. And then when we first see Robin Hood and we have that little banter between him and the Doctor and the fight and stuff, that's all great. And then when the Doctor's, like you said, is examining the other people, he's taking hair out and all that a lot, that's really good.
Yeah.
But then from pretty much that point on, the story just sort of deteriorates really into just a I don't know what Mark Gatiss was, where he was trying to go with it from that point on.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels like there's no. Yeah, it feels like there's no sort of. There's no strong core to the story, is there at all? It's a bit lightweight. Because I agree with you about the banter. I love a lot of the banter in this. I think is really good. But there are some bits where it really feels a bit like padding. Like the cell scene. There's some good bits in there, like when they knock the keys down. That's great, and they're fighting over the keys and knocking down a drain. Love that bit. But some of it just goes on and on and on. And you're sort of thinking, the story isn't moving on.
Yeah.
But we're just, So I do like a lot of the banter in this, but I feel perhaps there's just a little bit too much in the cell. I was just, they needed the story to be moving on a bit there, I thought. I mean, I absolutely adore the scene with the Doctor pulling out the spoon and having the sword fight. I mean, I don't know where Mark Gatiss got that idea from, but it's brilliant. And the fact that the Doctor pushes him in, using that, sort of backwards flip, and that then Robin uses that backward flip to defeat the Sheriff at the end. That's a lovely piece of writing there. I love that. The one thing that distracts me in that scene though, and it won't bother you, this will just be me, I know, is the continuity with the TARDIS door. Every time I'm watching it, I just keep noticing it keeps opening and shutting between scenes, and it's just like, well, yeah, well, no, that's what I mean. It's just one of those silly little things. I noticed, like the train not moving in Mummy. It's like one of those things, but it does. Every time I watch that scene, I just keep looking at the TARDIS door, thinking it's open 1 minute, shut the next, half open the next. It keeps changing all the way through that scene. Terrible continuity. Yeah. But it's a great scene. I love it. And he chops the button off the Doctor's jacket and all that.
That's cool.
It's brilliant. Yeah, I love it. And Capaldi definitely does give him a very sly middle finger in that scene, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
There's no way getting around it. He definitely slipped that in there. Yeah, and I like that. It's cool.
Yeah, that's it's completely obvious, isn't it? You can't hide it at all. He actually gives him the finger.
He puts glove on. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I can imagine that a conversation between Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat was loosely along the lines of, I've got this really cool story about Robin Hood. It's not what you're expecting. I'm going to put a twist on it. And it's basically going to be about the Doctor completely hating Robin Hood, trying to disprove his existence, and them two arguing very funnily between. And I think that's just the core of the story. It's about the Doctor and Robin Hood, this continuous back and forth and arguing, and which is very funny. Some of the times when they do sort of prod and mock each other and that sort of stuff is very funny, and Peter Capaldi does it very well with Tom Riley, who plays Robin Hood. Really, really good stuff. But there's nothing else going on, really, because the robots are very, not very threatening, really.
They're a bit weak, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they come across as a little bit threatening at the beginning when you first, when they first melt that guy down who's sitting next to... I think it's Marion in the end, isn't it?
It's Marion, yeah.
Yeah, so that's quite good. But from that point on, they get defeated way too easily.
Well, with the tray.
With the gold trays and stuff, yeah. So the alien threat isn't really a threat.
That could have been used quite a bit more, actually, now you mention it. Because I do like the design of those guys, I think. I like the head design and stuff. I think that's pretty good, actually.
And I really like the purple laser that they use. It makes a cross on people. That's that's quite a powerful image. It's pretty good. And I also didn't find the sheriff particularly threatening. He's very. Do you know what I think? Is because I'm so used to seeing, from Prince of Thieves, Alan Rickman.
Yeah,
from Prince of Thieves. I think because he was such a bad, nasty guy, and the sheriff is supposed to be like that. This guy was quite forgiving, really. He didn't really. The only time he really got his hands dirty was, he kills a villager at the beginning.
Yeah,
and I thought, wow, this guy means business. But after that, he doesn't really do anything. He just, he talks a lot. He's very calm and collected.
His beard.
Yeah, and then he has that fight at the end, which is quite cool. But other than that, he just doesn't do it for me, Ben Miller.
No, I don't mind his performance, but it's just another example of Doctor Who getting in a guest star and doing absolutely nothing with him. In fact, he's not really in it. I do think it's a shame. I'm going to mention this now so I don't forget it. I do think it's a shame that they didn't reinstate the cut scene when they released this on Blu-ray, because obviously it's fairly important to the plot. Basically the scene they cut was where the sheriff gets his head cut off, and it's revealed he's actually a robot as well.
That's right.
So we don't get that scene. It wasn't shown when it aired. And it wasn't put back in for the DVD release, which is a shame because the reason it was cut was to do with events happening in the news at the time.
That's right.
So there's no reason that they couldn't have put the uncut version on the DVD release. It's just laziness as usual on the BBC's part. So yeah, I don't know. It's a little scene, and I think it should have been in there because it's quite important to know that he is a robot. If you listen very carefully, you do hear him say it, but literally that dialogue gets lost.
Yeah, it does
in the fight. So I mean, it's not made very clear that he's actually a robot at all, as well. And I think it's quite important to the story, really, to know that.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, because
otherwise he's sort of inconsequential.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's the way that they made the story, because they've taken that scene out. The way that the story plays now is the sheriff is not a robot, and he's been told by these robots that, if he helps them get the ship repaired, they'll then repay him by being able to, run the world sort of thing.
Run the world, yeah. I'm just trying to think. Maybe he's half robot. I can't remember that. But there is something in there, isn't there? Yeah.
But that's not the case, because if that scene was in there, it would be very clear that, he's not just in cahoots with these robots. He's actually one of them. It was a different master plan. So I think it is absolutely should be in there. I mean, it's very difficult I wouldn't want to be the one to make that decision at the time when it went out based on what was in the news. But like you say, it could have been put back in for the release, because the box set for this came out months and months later.
Yeah.
When it wasn't so, that kind of thing wasn't so fragile. So it could have been put back in, but I think it's just a minor annoyance now, really.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a big difference. Just every time we get to, because I've seen it, it was sort of surfaced on YouTube. I don't think it's on the Blu-ray. Someone might want to correct me, but I've seen the scene, and it just, every time I get to that bit where I know it should be, I kind of think it should be there, because it does just cut to him jumping up on the thing saying, he says something like, "Oh, I'm half man, half machine," or something like that. There is a line, but God, it's so lost under all the music and fighting that you really wouldn't get it. But it was I totally get why they cut it at the time. Totally understand that, but it was a very last minute decision. So they've obviously clearly still, they should have reinstated it for the Blu-ray. Yeah,
that's another thing that I've got on my notes. Why you've just mentioned it, the sound mix was very off, I found, on this one. I found it very difficult to listen to a lot of the dialogue, because the music and the sound effects were they were good, but they were very, very loud.
Yeah.
And I struggled to hear. I found myself turning my TV up a lot to hear the dialogue, but have to quickly turn it down again when there was action, because it just blew my speakers off. So I was up and down a lot with the volume key, the volume buttons. But actually, yeah. So before we get on to cast and stuff like that, in terms of like production for this one, looks very nice. The forest scenes are all very good. Really like the opening scenes where the TARDIS lands in the forest, and the location they used for like the base, if you like, for the Merry Men was really, really good. It's like this huge, like, I don't know, it was like a huge bit just cut out of the forest, if you like. Like a huge cliff, like the forest was up high, and then there was this huge cavernous, like not a valley, but this huge cavernous area, which looked really, really good.
It's beautifully shot. I have to agree. It's nicely directed as well in that sense. It's it looks nice, the episode. Yeah, especially the beginning and all that. Yeah,
really good. Wasn't too fussed about some of the castle stuff. We didn't really pull back enough and see enough of the castle and stuff. It was just,
well, I don't get why they use a picture of they sort of mix 2 or 3 castles, don't they? Because they use a picture of Bodmin, I think, for that sort of CGI shot. I don't know why they use a real picture and then layered it with loads of CGI. There's like one shot of it from the outside, and then
yes,
the rest of it is a Welsh castle, which name I can't pronounce. I think you've been there.
It's Caerphilly Castle.
Oh, it's Caerphilly. Sorry, I was thinking it was the one with the L one, whatever that is. So Caerphilly, is it? Yeah. So that's quite nice. That works quite well.
Yeah, because I remember when I watched it this morning, I thought, yes, I've been there. And the actual scene where they filmed, where they've got the gallery with the people up the top, and that's actually a really, really big area of the castle. It's like all open wide. The camera could have pulled back a bit and revealed some more of the castle and the moat just outside. It would have been good. But it felt quite contained.
It does, yeah. I assumed that was, I assumed it's because it was small, yeah.
No, it's quite big. So they could have used a bit more of that. Would have been good. But so, yeah, the castle stuff wasn't great. I mean, in terms of how good a Doctor Who episode looks, it does look nice. It's, especially the outdoor scenes in the forest and everything. It's shot very nice. And pacing, not really got a complaint with the pacing. It moves along.
It does.
Well.
I do think it lags in the middle, though. I did find myself getting bored, sort of in the middle. With all the stuff in the cell, and then Clara and the sheriff just chatting at the table. I must admit, I was drifting off a little bit there. But yeah, it's fairly well paced. It picks up pretty much after that, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It doesn't lag as bad as...
Oh, it's not like some. Oh, no.
Others. Yeah, so not too bad. Let's talk about cast. Now... some of the supporting cast we can get out of the way very quick because I've only got a few lines. So basically, the Merry Men. We have a little roll call, don't we, where Robin Hood's introducing them, and that's pretty much it. They have some more lines towards the end, and that's it. So
they're not in much.
So it really was the Robin Hood show. It wasn't really Robin Hood and his Merry Men. They just kind of popped up a few times throughout the story and had a line each. Or a couple of lines each, and that was that.
Yeah, mostly laughing, isn't it? I love that when the Doctor's like, enough of the laughing. That wasn't even a joke. He's like, yeah. So they sort of provide a bit of humour in that sense, but they ain't in it a lot, no.
They ain't in it, are they?
No.
And that was quite good. Again, that was another nice little element written into the story there by Mark Gatiss, gets so infuriated with this kind of cliched stuff that you see out of storybooks with Robin Hood, where all the merry men are like chucking away, and he gets so, he hates it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's trying to say, it's not a hologram, but something else is afoot. And there's the guy who played Robin Hood, Tom Riley, has this really cool little knack of this sort of crafty, almost cheeky little grin. Where you can see the Doctor getting mad about it and trying to figure out what's going on, and he's kind of playing up to it a little bit. He knows that he's getting on the Doctor's nerves, and he's playing up to it a bit.
Yeah, let's talk about Tom Riley then, because I think he was quite good cast as Robin Hood. He's perfectly got that little cheeky chappy, but still quite likeable sort of characterization. Yeah, I thought he was quite good as Robin Hood.
I thought he was excellent as this character, and I'm in a way. I kind of wanted to see more of his character. I kind of wanted to see maybe another story with him, because it feels like we pick up when the Doctor and Clara land, the Robin Hood, and we sort of join him at this point in his life where he's doing the classic Robin Hood thing, and then when the Doctor and Clara leave at the end. He gets Marion back, and and I feel like there's more to tell there, because it'd be an interesting thing. Because now, obviously, the sheriff has gone. He's now a gold statue somewhere. So it'd be interesting to see where they would go with that without the other classic elements. Because I think at some point in the story, when Clara's having a conversation with the sheriff. He says to her that he's going to take on the King of England, but before that, he killed someone else who was quite powerful in the area. Who was the guy that was it St. Peter or no Simon Peter?
I'm not sure.
Something like that. The guy who basically the sheriff reports into for Nottingham.
Yeah.
Whoever that character is. So that guy isn't there anymore. The sheriff's not there anymore. So I'd be really interested to see where they would go with Robin Hood's character. And purely based on Tom Riley's performance, I don't know, I just felt like after the episode ended, I was like, well, you know, I know what the Doctor's going to do next, all that stuff, but I wonder what Robin Hood and those guys would do next. So I really wanted to see more, and I know that's never going to happen, but I really wanted to see.
I don't know, the way Moffat's going at the minute, anything could happen.
Oh, God. Yes, he could pop up, couldn't he? Numerous times.
He'll probably bring back Friar Tuck.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I did think he was good casting. I really like the performance he gives. It's good interaction between him and Capaldi. I'll be honest with you, I'm not too bothered about seeing him again, but I wouldn't mind if we did. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
Do you know what? I enjoyed his performance more, his interactions with Clara.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, because I found, like I said, the stuff between him and the Doctor, I found that really funny. And that was really good. But especially the scene at the end where he's talking to Clara before she goes in the TARDIS. I found that's a lovely little written scene there where Clara's saying goodbye. And he's not being that typical Robin Hood that we'd seen throughout the episode to that point. Because, you know, the bit when having the archery competition.
Yeah.
And he sort of flings off his hat and his cloak and he sort of announces to everyone that he's Robin Hood and stuff. You know, he's like the complete opposite to that. He seems very, very sort of vulnerable at that point, you know, because he's revealed quite a lot to Clara about his feelings about Marion and him being a good person, all that stuff. And I really liked that scene. I thought the way that he played it was really well done, where it's quite emotional. She says goodbye and then he has like a little chuckle, you know, as she goes, sort of thing. So I really, really like that. And that's some of the stuff that I wanted to see more of.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's a nice scene. I mean, I love it when he turns to the Doctor as well and says, you know, Clara's told me all about you and we're very similar, you know, and Capaldi's like, what's she told you?
Yeah.
You know, and he's basically, she said too much. I thought that was going somewhere at the time, actually. I thought that was going to be some sort of arc that Clara was going around blabbing too much, but it turns out he's just annoyed that she's been giving away all his sort of secrets and stuff. But yeah, it is a nice scene. Yeah.
It's good. So yeah, Tom Riley, really, really, really good casting again, and a good performance. I really liked his performance.
Yeah,
very good.
I'll go with that.
What about the sheriff then? So Ben Miller, a bit more about him.
Ben Miller,
from the Sainsbury's ads, Asda ads,
oh,
Tesco.
Those ads.
From one of those, anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't take him. I think he's just one of these actors where I just cannot take him too seriously. I don't know why. I just, when he's trying to be very serious, and especially that conversation with Clara, when he's revealing his plan and all that stuff, I just can't seem to get into his performance as.
He's not very threatening.
As a credible
there's a bit
villain.
where he punches the one of the knights as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
This sort of comedy character. Yeah, he's not very threatening in the role. I don't mind him in it. I think I don't know. I don't mind Ben Miller. I just can't get over how he reminds me of Anthony Ainley's Master. The whole time that I was watching, the first time I was watching this, I kept thinking, because there's a bit where he said something like, he's watching the Doctor do the archery fight, and he's like, you know, not such a stranger, and he sort of rubs his beard. I thought, oh, is he? Surely, is he going to be the Master? Is this like, you know, because I could definitely see him.
He looks a lot
doing
like
that.
him.
Yeah, it's just the beard and the facial expressions, and sometimes the voice as well. It's just I just can see it in his performance a bit. But unfortunately, he doesn't get to go anywhere near that sort of grand in terms of character. So, I think, as I said before, I don't mind him in it at all, actually. But he's not threatening, and he is very much wasted in it. I think he could have been so much better, but I don't think it's down to him. I think it's more down to the script, really. He just needed to have his part built up a bit more.
Yeah, probably. Like I've already said, he just wasn't a credible villain for me. Couldn't take him seriously. And do you know what? That's funny that you say that, because I hadn't remembered that until you said it, that he does look a lot like the Master.
He just reminds me of Anthony Ainley's Master.
Yeah, just so much.
I thought it might have been just me, but I'm glad you think it as well.
Yeah. I'd forgotten until you just mentioned it. But so Ben Miller, not too bad. he's a decent enough actor, but just what he had to do here was just a bit,
Yes.
Clara.
Well, it's funny because I remember the first time I watched this, I did review for Geeks Handbag, and I remember saying I was really disappointed in the way Jenna was written in this, because I think she was becoming quite strong in Series 8. They'd really sort of managed to turn their character around, and I felt in this she'd gone back to sort of Series 7 Clara.
Right.
I didn't feel like that this time. Maybe I was just a bit more, maybe watching them in order back then, made a difference. But watching this as a standalone little story, I actually thought she was all right in it. And I think she looks amazing when she comes out the TARDIS in that red dress, whatever she's wearing. I think she looks stunning. But yeah, I actually thought she was okay in this. Not her strongest performance by any means, but she does the job, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with that. Because I hadn't seen this one in a long time, and based on what Clara was like in the last series, I thought that she was a lot more annoying in it than what she actually is. She's not too bad in this one, because sometimes she does get a bit fangirlish.
I remembered her being really giggly and fawning over Robin, but she's nowhere near as sort of bad as I thought, actually.
Yeah, that's the same for me. In my head, I thought, she's really sort of giggly and schoolgirly and fangirlish, but she's actually not too bad.
No.
Nowhere near as bad as what she's been in the last series with things, but and she has a couple of nice little scenes. She's quite good when it's a good little twist when the three of them are locked up in the dungeon and they have this thing about the guard's been overhearing them to see which one is the ringleader.
Yeah.
And the Doctor and Robin have this argument about, well, he's bound to pick me, I'm the ringleader, and he comes in and takes Clara. So I thought that was good. And then the subsequent nice. Conversation between her and the sheriff, that was pretty good. She seems quite in control and quite, not intimidated at all, which is good. And she has some other nice little things. And she was just, she was pretty good. And I'm glad that she didn't go down that road of being too giggly around Robin Hood and, this whole big romantic, they could have done, the big romance thing where she fancies him and, they could have gone too far. But no, I thought the balance was pretty good. Didn't mind Clara in this one.
No, I didn't. And I like, you mentioned the scene earlier with the chalkboard now. It's a really nice little scene between her and Capaldi as well at the start, where he's just like, he's just totally dismissive. She's like, come on, have some fun. I think that's the thing. She's more fun Clara in this rather than the sort of, I liked it when Clara was a bit more, later on in Series 8, she gets a bit more serious and deep. And I preferred that because I sort of found, Series 7 Clara was just cocky and annoying. And I thought she was going a little bit towards that in this episode. But no, she's actually fine. She's nowhere near as bad as I thought. I actually thought she works quite well in it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. Right. The Doctor.
The Doctor, now this is interesting because very often when me and you get to a Capaldi episode, we get to talk about Capaldi and we always sort of say, he was on point, he was great. And I do think he's really good in this, but I also found he's really different. Going back, after watching Series 9, and I haven't watched this episode for ages, so it's really strange to go back and see Capaldi as the Doctor in Series 8. He's definitely different. Yeah. He's much more sort of abrupt, much more, he's a bit more alien in a way. Like, Clara's obviously always having to sort of excuse him for not having any manners. And it's a different Doctor we're seeing here, only subtly, but it's definitely a different performance to the sort of Capaldi Doctor in Series 9. I thought anyway, but I still thought it was good. I still thought he was really, really good fun in it. I love all the banter that he comes out with. And I still think he gives a really confident performance.
The bantering,
yeah.
Yes, he's definitely a different Doctor than what we've seen from Series 9. That's for sure. He's definitely got that William Hartnell sort of borderline grumpiness, no patience, grumpy old man sort of thing going on.
He's quite cocky, isn't he? He's like, I know what's going on here, don't tell me. And then obviously he's got it all wrong as well. Like that is quite funny at the end when he's like revealing the plan and then he realises actually he's got it completely wrong. He's like, no, that'd be that'd be a silly plan. And he's like, well, why am I thinking that? And, you know, there's some great moments with Capaldi in this, I think.
Yeah, I know. I like his performance for the most part. Yeah, he's a great Doctor. He really is. He's got and I think it was good to have an older guy come back as the Doctor. If we remember back to when they were doing the whole casting for the role and the big reveal and so on, and I think that when you see Capaldi like this in Series 8, you think to yourself, yes, that was the right decision to not go with another very young actor, but to change it up a bit and have that grumpy old man sort of hark back to the Hartnell years.
Yeah, that sort of cocky. I know, you know, I've been around the block a few times. I know what's going on here. You know, when actually there are still new things for the Doctor to discover. It's quite a nice little thing to do. But I tell you what I do like as well. I much prefer the smarter Series 8 Capaldi Doctor. Like, I just, you know, he looks so much better in the suit and shirt and, you know, than the hoodie and all that we got in Series 9. I prefer this look. Yeah. I think his hair is so short in this as well. He looks really different.
His hair, is a lot shorter than...
Yeah. He's not gone into the wild. But yeah, I reckon hopefully in Series 10 they'll combine the smart clothes with the wild hair. I think would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But no, I think he's good in this. I still like Capaldi. It's a nice performance. He handles the humour quite well, I think.
Yes. Does a good job. Yeah. It's good. Right. Anything else you want to mention before we get on to scores?
Yes, I'm glad you've asked me because there is two things I must mention. I love the fact that the miniscope gets mentioned at the start. So the miniscope from Carnival of Monsters, he's like, at one point the Doctor thinks they might be trapped in a miniscope. Lovely little reference. And one absolutely beautiful little nugget that they included in this was having the picture of Pat Troughton from Robin Hood on the screen. It's on there for seconds when they're going through the spaceship databank. We get a picture, you know, a real life. I think that might have been maybe Pat Troughton's first TV role or something. I'm not sure. Could be
very
wrong,
young.
But
yeah,
it's a very early publicity still of Pat Troughton as Robin Hood, just on there on screen for seconds. Lovely little idea to include that.
Yeah, and I really like the miniscope reference as well.
Yeah, it's
really
brilliant.
Cool. Yeah.
Actually, there is one thing we should just finish on though, is the fact that this nice little lightweight, easy watch story. Because the reason we're going to get on to scores in a second, but the reason my scores goes down quite a bit from what it might have been, it is due to the ridiculous golden arrow shooting into the side of a spaceship.
Oh, the ending.
At the end,
yes.
The ending.
Yeah.
I mean, I must just talk about that before we get on scores very
Thank
quick.
you.
Because it's ludicrous. It doesn't even, it just hits the side of the ship and it's enough to boost it into the sky, and it's just a joke. It's almost as if, right, we've got to wrap this up. Golden arrow, spaceship explodes, done.
Yeah.
It really, really isn't a very good ending to the episode, I have to say.
Not at all. And I'm glad you mentioned, actually, because when I watched it this morning and it got to that bit, my brain triggered that memory of when I watched it the first time, thinking, oh yeah, this is the ridiculous bit.
It's so stupid.
And sometimes you do have to look past certain things within stories. You have to, sort of take off your realism hat for a minute and just look at it as a piece of science fiction and drama and stuff. But really, I mean, for a start, the ship is so high up, at this point. By the time they'd finished faffing around and, got the arrow sorted and
the three of them all exactly in the right place.
There's no person, even the best archer in the world, wouldn't be able to get an arrow that high up into the air, let alone with enough force for it to jam into the side of the, quite clear, very thick armor plating on the side of the ship. And that's the other thing as well. Why would the arrow striking the outside of the armored ship give it like this
much
ridiculous
needed
power boost?
It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that really disappointed with Mark Gatiss in the script. And also, it's not just him, it's Stephen Moffat's fault as well. Because, the guys...
Let's get him in here.
Well, I'm sorry, but the guy that's overseeing all of the scripts and stories, you'd immediately just fling that script back at Mark Gatiss and say, sort the ending out and we'll go for it.
Yeah.
It's another example of Stephen Moffat just letting things through that are just ridiculous.
It does take the edge off. It really does. Yeah.
Because it's his job, really, to look at these scripts and stories and say, yeah, it's all good, but, that's not really working. You need to go back and rework that bit because that's just not great. But obviously, Mark Gatiss has just got a bit more freedom around the BBC office.
I'm just laughing because I've got this vision of the Moff hunched over a bar somewhere right now, just flicking peanuts at a mirror, just with his head in his hands, thinking, oh, what? Just like, well, I'm just getting so much dick. But it is true. It is true. I know they could have, it didn't need it. It didn't even need it. They could have just said, like, reach maximum thing, let's go. And it just didn't need it.
Yeah. And a funny little story that I've literally just recently finished reading Andrew Cartmell's book, The Script Doctor. Just finished it. And there are numerous occasions in that book where he had scripts through, even to the point where they were going into production like 2 weeks after like the last bit of the script had finished. And he had just pulled the plug. He'd be like, no, that story is not going ahead with that particular element in the story because it's ridiculous. And to the point where he'd have like a blazing row with John Nathan Turner to say, I don't care. That story cannot go ahead, with that element in it. And sometimes I just wish that the Moff was a bit like Andrew Cartmell in that regard, where he'd just be like, no, I'm sorry, that's just completely ridiculous. Maybe it's that awkwardness between friends, like when a friend shows you something they've done and you're like, wow, that's terrible. It's great, yeah. Maybe it's that awkwardness where he doesn't want to disappoint or upset his mate. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think he just needed to be a bit stronger there and say, look, come on, Mark. I've got you in again, to do this. Play the game, at least give me a decent story. And just told him to bugger off and, and come back with a decent ending. But
that's it.
Alas, it is what it is. Yeah. So anyway, scores. Let's do it. I think it's...
Okay.
Who's going to go first this week? I think it's me. Is it me? Yes.
It's you.
It's me.
Yeah.
I will give this a solid 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay. Yeah, I'm just slightly ahead of you. I've gone 6.5.
Oh, okay.
6.5, yeah. It probably would have been a 7 if it wasn't for that ending, I think. I was sort of getting towards the end of the story. I was thinking, yeah, this is okay. It's a 7. But no, 6. I think 6.5 is pretty bang on. Yeah.
Yeah. Rightio. What did you guys think? We had a load of comments come through on Facebook this week.
Yeah, we did. I was quite surprised, actually.
Yeah.
We got a lot for this. I'm really pleased, by the way. Thanks everyone for commenting, because I was really chuffed the amount of comments we got for this. But I was surprised because it's, I think it's a sort of reasonably forgettable episode. So, yeah. Anyway, let's hear what they had to say.
Yes. We had a load of audio reviews in as well. So before we dive into Twitter and Facebook, let's do that first one, which is from Alex Kingdom.
Hello, Adam, and boy, does it feel good to be back. Now, I'm so sorry that I haven't been making audio reviews for the past few weeks. Something called exams has come over the horizon, which means I'm very busy. But I found this minute or so just to do this for you guys. So, the Robot of Sherwood is a fun episode. It really changes the tone of Series 8, which is a dark and interesting tone compared to the other series before that in the Smith era. And I think this script was good, but it felt kind of Smith to me, and I don't think that really works for Capaldi's character. He can do funny, of course, but it wasn't dry comedy, it was more Smith comedy. Clara was just literally a damsel in distress, basically, and the whole Arrow landing the ship thing was... But I did like to see Ben Miller as the Sheriff of Nottingham, just because he was in Primeval, and I used to love that show. But anyway, Tom Riley as Robin Hood. Is it Tom Riley? I hope it's Tom Riley. I may have got that name wrong. He's great. I really like him. I just think he's a funny character. I think he bounces off his team of pals, merry men, very well. And I think that works really well in terms of the story. But what am I going to give Robot of Sherwood? I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's really good. I just don't think it's one of the stories that you'd pick out from Series 8 or any of Doctor Who history. But again, it's not one of those episodes that you look back on and go, oh. Anyway, guys, keep enjoying the show.
Thank you, Alex.
Cheers. Good luck with the exams, mate.
Yeah, good luck, buddy.
I can totally see Matt Smith in this script. Actually, now he said that, this would suit Matt's Doctor down to the ground. This story.
He would actually, yeah, yeah. A couple over on Twitter first. Finn Walsh says, he says, "Hello guys, summer break has just begun for me, and a good story to watch for the summer. It's a simple, easy watch. 7 out of 10.
Okay, good.
Yeah. A guy called Christophe Antoine says he posted a picture on Twitter of the scene where the Doctor's putting his glove on. He says the Doctor flipped Robin off when he put his glove on when they first meet, and that's the only thought I have from the episode. So that's the only thing that he took from that, which is interesting.
Best bit in the episode. I love it.
Yes. So let's do another audio review before we get stuck into Facebook. This is Owen Daly.
So, hi Gary and Adam, and today we are talking about Robots of Sherwood. Now, first of all, I think Robots of Sherwood is actually quite underrated. I think I am definitely in a minority because I've seen people don't really enjoy the story, and I can see where they're coming from. Personally, I think it's very good because if you all cast your minds back to that Disney movie, Robin Hood, years ago, that was my favourite movie when I was 4 or 5, and it's had a lasting imprint on me. So when I saw this was released, and the preview clips, I just kept thinking of that movie, and that gave me a good positivity going into this episode. And when I came out of it, I loved it because it had so many elements of that movie, plus Doctor Who. So the reason I love this so much is basically because the Robin Hood movie. But I can see its flaws now after a rewatch, so I plan on not watching it too much because it kind of has a lasting memory in my head, so I don't really want to overwatch it to see all its flaws. But it is definitely underused with the robot aspect. Robin Hood is a bit unbearable in places. The Sheriff of Nottingham is a bit underused, and the Merry Men are underused, and overall it's a bit poor in writing, but I still enjoy it. So that is about a 7 out of 10. And quickly before I finish, I have to say I only got to 10 Doctor Adventures on Friday, and I have to say Technophobia was great. Time Reaver, the worst of the set, but it's not bad, and Death and the Queen was middle. So thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the show, I guess. Bye.
Nice one.
Excellent. Cheers for that.
Cheers, buddy. Right, on Facebook, Joseph Howarth says, I actually liked Robot of Sherwood. Considering this season is more focused on more darker and edgier stories, I find this story quite out of place for Peter's Doctor. You'd think it would be an episode for Matt Smith's Doctor.
Yeah.
But apparently not. Regardless, I thought the comedy act between the Doctor and Robin Hood was very funny for what it was. As a fun romp adventure. It's a bit of a been there, done that sort of story, and nothing really spectacular, but it was a good story, even if it felt like it was more suited for other Doctors. 7 out of 10.
Ah, okay.
Sammy Satine. The Doctor thinks Robin Hood doesn't exist and sets out to prove it to Clara after she asks him to take her to Robin Hood. Turns out he is real, and so are his merry men. Unfortunately, so is the Sheriff of Nottingham and the robots. Love the bit with the spoon, still laugh about it, as well as the ornamental plant stand joke. The Doctor and Robin not realising that, as they both listen to Clara, the Sheriff would naturally assume she's the leader, is both a gag and an attempt to move things along. I like how Clara tricks the Sheriff into telling him his story. Nice to see Patrick Troughton. It's a fun story, 8 out of 10.
Oh, cheers, Sammy.
Yeah. Right. George Coppen says, one of my least favourite Capaldi episodes. Don't really like the robots, and most of the supporting cast are boring. Only good things about this episode is the spoon fight and Ben Miller. Although this episode is still better than In the Forest of the Nights, you'll be pleased to hear, Adam.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. He gives it a 5 out of 10. Right. More audio. This is Joe Sweeney.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Hope you guys are well. So, the Robots of Sherwood. Well, I can start off by saying that it is an okay episode, but one of my least favourites out of Series 8. And what saved the episode was, like, the scene with the Doctor coming out of the TARDIS and saying to Clara that there's no such thing as Robin Hood and the arrow fired on TARDIS door. I thought that was quite a good way to start off with the episode. And also in another scene where the Doctor was fighting Robin Hood with a spoon, I thought that was quite a nice touch. And also Capaldi's performance was quite good as well. But the rest of the episode was just pretty bland. It was a bit boring. also the robots didn't look that very scary or feel very threatening. And also Clara was annoying. And also the jokes between the Doctor and Robin Hood sort of dragged on a little bit. So overall, okay episode, but not that very enjoyable. So I'll give a score of 5 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, guys. Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Joe.
Cheers, Joe. I do love that scene with the arrow, actually, that you mentioned. That is great. When the Doctor first comes out so confident, and he's like, no damsels in distress, no pretty castles, no Robin Hood. It's a nice scene.
Let's keep the train going with the audio. This is Matt Rowney.
Hey there, Gary and Adam. I hope you two are well. Now, The Robot of Sherwood is a really, really strange episode for me. I dislike it the more I watch it, and I think the reason for that is because I just see the flaws the more and more I do watch it. Now, it's very likeable, it's very enjoyable. It's an episode you can sit down on a Sunday afternoon and just enjoy. It's got that likability about it, and I think the Doctor is great in it as well. I think the chemistry and the dynamic he had with Robin Hood worked really well. They were so similar yet different at the same time. And even Ben Miller was good as the Sheriff of Nottingham. He could have easily have crossed over to being a bit too theatrical, a bit too panto-esque, but he didn't, apart from the odd moment. So, the characters were great, but it had that typical Mark Gatiss problem, and that's the narrative. So many flaws that just become more apparent the more you watch it. The whole gold thing, I didn't get that as a motive for the Sheriff of Nottingham. The way he was saying, I want to take over Nottingham, then Lincoln, then the world, that made no sense at all. And the ending just frustrates the life out of me. Number one, how does the Doctor, Robin and Clara know that one golden arrow would be just enough gold content to get this ship out of the atmosphere? How do they know that? How do they know that that's going to work? Secondly, I don't care if you're Robin Hood, you cannot shoot an arrow through that much length of space without wind or anything hitting it, and it hitting that exact part of the ship. And three, how does hitting a ship with an arrow up its gold content anyway? It's like Gatiss got to the end of the script and thought, crap, I need to finish this, I'll make this up, it'll be fine. No, Mark, it's not fine, and this is becoming so apparent in all your scripts, you just cannot finish them off. So for me, The Robot of Sherwood, it's frustrating because it has the potential to be a really likeable and enjoyable one, which it is to an extent, but the narrative, and especially the end, lets it down. So I'm going to give it a generous 6 out of 10. Take care, guys.
Some really good points there, Matt.
Yeah, I do agree with a lot of that, actually. And so does Billy, his bird, by the sound of it.
Yeah, especially about Mark Gatiss not being able to finish off a story that well. Because I find that his scripts and his stories, they start very strong.
Yeah.
But the ending is sometimes a bit weak. So, yeah, good stuff, Matt. Right, back on Facebook, let's rattle through some of these. Lewis Palmer. This is one that I really enjoy as a dumb, fun, turn your brain off story. It's a nice light-hearted romp, which I always like to break up the series and offer a chance of pace. I always enjoy the Doctor and Robin Hood interacting with each other. They're really funny to me. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Really enjoy it.
Cheers, Lewis.
Mark Atkinson. It was okay. A strange sort of tone for the darker season 8, and the gold arrow business at the end was almost unforgivable, but it had some funny moments, and Clara looked beautiful. 6.5.
Cheers, Mark.
Kira Knight. I really enjoy it, with the banter being both cheesy and entertaining. More my humour than Moffat's innuendos. There are familiar Gatiss issues, like the Doctor and Companion not doing that much, but it works. Great quotes like, "You bony rascal," and "Do people punch you in the face when you do that?"
Yeah.
Overall, 7 out of 10. Cool. Ben Smith. I think this one gets an unfair rap. It is what it sets out to be, a simple, funny story. I like the portrayal of Robin Hood, and the bickering with the Doctor is humorous. The robots and Sheriff aren't anything special, and the Golden Arrow conclusion is disappointing, but overall, it's just a very fun episode. 7 out of 10. Adrienne Porter. I really love it. It's one of those episodes that grows on you over time, possibly one of Mark Gatiss's best episodes for Doctor Who. Greg Toby. Modern Who's answer to a Holmes-like pseudo-historical. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. We need more episodes like this. Spoons at the ready, 9 out of 10.
Spoons at the ready.
Let's do our second from last audio. This is Daniel Fox.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Hope you're both well. So, Robot of Sherwood. I actually don't think this episode is that bad. I do think the humour in it is actually kind of actually quite suited to the 12th Doctor, although the spoon scene does feel a bit out of place for me. But I do like a lot of scenes in this episode, actually. For instance, the scene where Clara tells the Doctor and Robin Hood to shut up because they're shouting. I think that's quite funny. As for Robin Hood turning out to be real, I'm not too sure if I like that or not. It does feel almost a bit fairy tale-like. But I will overall give it an 8 out of 10. So have a good show, guys.
Excellent, thanks for that.
Nice one, Daniel. Thank you very much. Right, a last few on Facebook. Where did I get up to? Greg Toby. Right, so Callum Johnson says, bad story. I like this Robin Hood. Turned out to be real at the end, but the golden arrow was a bit ridiculous. So 4 out of 10. Callum MacArthur. One of my favourite things Mark Gatiss has ever written. Love Doctor and Clara in it, but what I don't like is all the promotion. They said she wasn't going to be sure about the Doctor, but apart from that, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Danny Brown, for me, definitely a low point in Series 9. Not one I would ever really go back and watch. I think he means Series 8.
Yeah.
Gatiss pens another weak story and the plot never gets going. Although saying that, performances from the cast are mostly good. 5.5. And lastly on Facebook, Eugene Glover says, there is this moment in One Breath where Clara, having doubted the new Doctor, realises that the Doctor would be there to save her, and for her, that moment when the Doctor reveals that he is standing behind her is the moment 12 becomes a Doctor to her. It's all very dramatic and designed to make that moment happen for the audience too. But it doesn't, not for me anyway. For me, no matter what the divided opinion on Robot of Sherwood, the moment when 12 says, I am the Doctor and this is my spoon, is the instant Capaldi became the Doctor for me. It was at that moment the fun returned and I could see the Doctor in Capaldi's characterisation. For that moment, if nothing else, I will always have a soft spot for Robot of Sherwood, and the rest of it was quite fun, if mostly harmless. Gives it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from with that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Last audio clip. This is Jay Kent.
Hey, Gary and Adam, hope you're doing well. Now, Robots of Sherwood, I'm not too sure. I actually like this episode a lot. While it might not be perfection, it's certainly one of the good ones in Series 8 and arguably one of the best by Gatiss. It's a nice, light-hearted episode with an easy-to-follow plot, which is perfect for a family audience. The idea of Robin Hood being real only to be forgotten about in history, I think is a splendid idea, and the parallels drawn between him and the Doctor are really well done. I will say that it felt as if they were trying to save budget by not actually showing anyone getting incinerated by the robots or anything, and powering a ship with an arrow in the hull makes next to no sense, but I like the charm and quirkiness of the whole thing. The banter between the Doctor and Robin is certainly a highlight, and this will always be one of those episodes which makes me laugh. Overall, I give it a good old 7 out of 10.
We're all for the bants.
We're all for the bants and the cheesy laughter. Okay, did you have any Did you have anything through on the Geeks handbag page?
I did, yes. A couple of quick ones. I had Steve Jacoby says, I have Robin's first reaction to Clara every time I see Jenna. I think we all know what he means.
Okie dokie.
Ryan Anthony, he says, entertaining, easy to watch, and in my opinion, the funniest episode ever of Doctor Who. The comedic writing was very well done and the cast were great. Clara didn't have much to do, but that's a good thing considering she led every other episode. That's a good point. Capaldi was amazing as always. This type of comedy works well in Doctor Who as long as it's done just a one-time thing. I think it gets a lot of undeserved hate, as I really like it, and Ryan's giving it 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
So he likes this one. And finally, Paula Black, she says, really liked that episode, more in the vein of classic Who.
Okay.
It did have fun to it. I will give it that. So I think that's one of the reasons I think it's okay. It's because it did have a little bit of fun to it. It was quite an easy watch, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, for sending in your thoughts, either on Twitter, Facebook, or audio. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
And quite a popular episode this week.
Surprisingly.
Loads and loads of comments. So thank you so much for all that. What we're going to do next week?
Next week, Third Doctor Classic, The Sea Devils.
The Sea Devils. Fans of the Third Doctor will not want to miss.
I'm doing Ice Warriors. Why am I? I was thinking Sea Devils. Yeah.
So, Sea Devils, one I've not watched in quite a while, to be honest with you.
No, I haven't watched it for ages. So I'm really looking forward to this, actually.
Yes.
I'm in the mood for a bit of Third Doctor.
Yes, you nitwit. Right, I think we're going to do there for 95.
Okay.
Thank you for sticking with us for episode 95. That was all good. Some interesting news this week.
Yeah, some good news.
Good news?
Well, I don't know about good news. Some good bits of news.
Any news is good news.
I'm looking forward to the filming pics. I hope they're not all locked in the same Face the Raven set repainted for the third time studio.
Oh, yeah.
Let's have some location pics, yeah.
Indeed. Let's go back to a good old quarry.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we?
Can't be a good quarry.
Can't be a good quarry.
Many quarries in Cardiff? I'm not sure.
There's a few.
Yeah.
There's a huge one somewhere. I think it's more of a mine, but you'd look pretty good. Anyways, thank you for your thoughts and comments. As like I've said, the show would not be what it is without all of our listeners taking time out of their day or evening or morning, whatever, to send us your thoughts. So that's all good. Really looking forward to your thoughts on next week's show, because we haven't done a Third Doctor story in quite some time.
No, what was the last one then? Go on, you normally tell me.
Yeah, in fact,
Claws of Axos?
We haven't done one this year. Oh, yes, we have, yeah, Claws of Axos, sorry, you are correct.
Axos, yeah.
Back in March, so that'd be good. So, yeah, send us your thoughts, a tweet, a Facebook post, whatever you like. And if you're going to send in an audio clip, that would be fantastic, but just please try and keep it to roughly a minute long. Roughly. When I say roughly, like if it's a minute and 10 seconds, that's fine. But if it's like 4 minutes, that's not roughly a minute.
No.
Yeah. So head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our previous episodes, plus you can link off to Twitter, Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And you can also subscribe to the show in iTunes. And if you are an iTunes listener, you could give us a rating or a review. That would be swell. That would be awesome. Thank you very much. Remember to check out Adam's channels, The Geek's Handbag on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, I've actually managed to start filming a new video this week.
Oh, cool.
It felt good. Felt good to get that camera back out again. And
yeah.
It didn't feel so good when I put the stuff away, though, because I was doing some stuff with steelbooks, and I managed to scratch them while filming. So, yeah, I was a bit gutted. But, yeah, there's a new vid on the way.
Excellent stuff.
Sometime soon. Yeah.
So check out Adam's stuff. It's all good. All good stuff. And I've said stuff 4 times now.
But I liked the word swell. Swell. There's a word we should use more. He's doing swell.
Swell. Anyways, let's wrap this up. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...